Hello, this is Keith, welcoming you to the 1944th edition of the Enfield Talking newspaper, Dateline the 6th of March 2014. The readers this week are Janet, Sally and Keith, with Robin on the controls. We're sorry if you are experiencing any sound problems on the tape, as we are having some technical problems with the mixer. We hope this won't spoil your enjoyment of the broadcast. The items that we will be reading come from our local newspapers, the Enfield Gazette and Advertiser and the Enfield Independent, under their copyright. Our title music is Country Rock Polka, composed by Pat Prilly, Ferdinand Bouillon, Harry Breur and performed by Jean-Jacques Perry, and is used with his kind permission. Local stories include Tories boot out Facebook row councillor and Nursery's brutal decision. Quite a few special news items this week. First of all, we'd like to apologise to listeners for the delay in issuing the Talking newspaper last week. A problem with the master tape and the backup tape meant that Philip, our chairman, read, recorded and copied the tape single-handedly on Saturday. This meant the tapes did not reach the sorting office until Monday. We are looking into what happened with the original recording. Philip would also like to apologise for a schoolboy error at the start of the tape. It is, of course, 2014 and not 2013, as he mentioned. An advance date for your diary next. The Enfield Talking newspaper annual general meeting will be held on Monday the 16th of June at 7:30pm at the Park Avenue Disability Centre. We'd like to tell you that one of our regular readers, John Wood, can't be with us tonight, and we're sorry to have to tell you that after many years as a reader, John has decided to hang up his microphone. He has been a very valuable member of the Enfield Talking newspaper team and will be sorely missed by us and, I'm sure, by you as well. We wish him a long and happy retirement. The Home Library Service is part of Enfield Libraries and provides a delivery service to people living in the borough who are unable to visit a branch library due to age, mobility, disability or their caring responsibilities. We visit each of our members every 4 weeks. The service is free and we will tailor it to your taste. For visually impaired people, we can provide books in large print or recorded books on CD or cassette. We can also bring music on CD or films on DVD for people with some vision. Members are free to reserve particular items. If you'd like to join the Home Library Service or know someone who would, please call 01992 716 010 and we will arrange for the Community Access Librarian to visit you. I'll give you that number again, it's 01992 716 010. The Enfield Macular Disease Support Group meets on the second Wednesday of every month from 10am to 12 noon at the Trinity Church Hall, Gentleman's Row, Enfield EN2 6AN. The meetings are open to anyone affected by central vision loss and carers are welcome as well. For further details, please contact Alan Newson on 020 8886 5659. That's Alan Newson on 020 886 5659. If you are experiencing any problems receiving your Enfield Talking newspaper, please phone Diane de Jersey on 020 8805 6578. She is your listener's representative and she will be pleased to help you. That's Diane de Jersey on 020 8805 6578. Now Janet will read the first item of local news.
The Conservative Party has expelled a councillor embroiled in a race-hate row more than 12 months after a raft of Islamophobic comments and images appeared on his personal Facebook page. In February last year, the Advertiser detailed a litany of Islamophobic and anti-Turkish comments on Conservative councillors Chris Journali's Facebook account, including references to a burqa-clad woman whose children were compared to bin bags. Although Enfield Council's Conservative group immediately suspended the councillor for Grange Ward before withdrawing the whip from him, the Central Conservative Party only took steps to expel him recently. Slamming the delay, director of interfaith charity Faith Matters said that if the party took prejudice seriously, it should have acted promptly. This sends a signal that they do not take issues around prejudice as seriously as they should. Enfield has become a very diverse borough, and if the Conservatives want to be elected, they should have taken immediate action to send the message that prejudice is not acceptable in the modern Conservative Party. Insisting that local Tories acted as quickly as possible to sever ties with Mr. Johnnides, who had also used derogatory terms about Turkish people in an exchange on the social media site, Group leader Michael Lavender said, "I have been informed that the National Party has also agreed with my representation that it could have determined matters sooner." A number of people have asked why this has taken so long, and this has been acknowledged by the party. Speaking to the Advertiser after his expulsion, he said he had maintained throughout that the posts were not racist or anti-Muslim. He said, "I am pleased that I was cleared by police and internally by the local Enfield Southgate Association." However, a spokesman for the association distanced the party from an open endorsement of the councillor, who has been selected to stand for the Conservatives in May local elections, but has now been barred by the party. He said the association was unable to act while the National Party dealt with this. "We had to wait 10 months before they spoke to us about the matter." A spokesman for Conservative Central Office said last Thursday Mr. Johnnides was expelled from the Conservative Party for a period of 12 months. He may appeal a bit against this decision, and it is our understanding that he intends to do so. If he wishes to stand as Tory candidate again, he must first reapply for membership of the party when his expulsion is over.
Paying parents have been left in limbo after a nursery told them to find new daycare for their children. Carterhatch Children's Centre, which has premises in Bell Lane and Autumn Close in Enfield, wrote to parents to inform them of its decision to withdraw places for privately paid children. Instead, the nursery will only offer places in September to children aged 2 and 3 that are wholly supported by the government. A letter sent out from head teacher Andrew Boys states, "From September the 1st, 2014, we will be running places that are fully funded by the government. We are very much aware that the decision to withdraw daycare places will create a very difficult situation for some parents and carers. Currently, the government offers 3 and 4-year-olds and some 2-year-olds free early years education for 15 hours each week. But from September, more 2-year-olds will be eligible for this grant." Parent Lawrence Ducky said that this result is actively encouraging parents to go on to benefits. He said, "This news is absolutely ridiculous. I have spent more than £50,000 on nurseries looking after my children throughout the years, and now to be told I cannot send my child here, it's a disgrace. They are basically telling me to stop working and collect benefits in order to send my child to nursery. As parents who pay all the fees, we will stand together against this, as nursery spaces in the borough are at a premium." Shada Ilahi of Freezywater said she may have to quit her job as a solicitor in order to look after her son. She said, "My 3-year-old son has only just started to really settle into his class and is now talking about his new friends. To have to tell him that he can no longer go to this nursery in September is devastating. We pay £46 a day for our son to be taken care of, which is much cheaper than 2 other nurseries I have inquired about. This could leave me with no option but to quit my job. Is this really what the government wants? I am told this is happening all over the country, and how the government advocate people becoming unemployed so their children can go to nursery." The centre takes children from 3 months of age to 5 years old at both its sites. Parents have told the Enfield Independent that they will stand together against the nursery's decision and have put forward a petition. Enfield North MP Nick Dubois said he is outraged by the brutal fashion in which the nursery has made its decision. He said, "I was very disappointed to hear that these parents are being told to look for alternative nursery places because of a change in admissions policy by the nursery in question. On the face of it, the policy change is being handled in a brutal fashion, leaving parents with limited chances of finding alternative places at short notice and where there is limited capacity elsewhere. I am writing to both the nursery in question for clarification of its policy and the Education Minister to seek her department's view on this matter. No one from the nursery or Enfield Borough Council was available to comment before the Enfield Independent went to press."
Council tax has been frozen for a fourth year after Enfield Borough Council passed its budget for the next year. Leader of the council, Councillor Doug Taylor, opened the full council meeting at the Civic Centre in Silver Street by criticising the government for dismantling the very fabric of local government, as a further 27% of the budget would be cut over the next 4 years. He said, "The coalition government has systematically and unreasonably dismantled the very fabric of local government and democracy. What we have is a balanced budget that is well stewarded. In 2010, by contrast, we inherited the most dramatic cuts ever seen, and in this period we have protected services and frozen council tax each and every year." Council tax has been frozen for a fourth successive year, but plans have been made to increase the council tax by 2% between 2015 and 2017. Leader of the Conservative Party, Councillor Michael Lavender, slammed the budget and highlighted increases in fees to hire children's football pitches and disabled day services charges. He said, "The budget is unsustainable. It's a Wonga budget. It is only ever looking for its next payday. This sets out quite starkly the situation we're in. There is a £34 million shortfall." Meanwhile, Mayor of Enfield, Councillor Chowdhury Anwar, told Labour councillors to shut up after sustained heckling during Councillor Terry Neville's speech. Councillor Andrew Stafford, Cabinet Member for Finance, stated that the cuts made by the government had been brutal and savage. Central government has provided a £1,000 discount on business rates, which has been included in the council's budget. Now here's the public notice regarding council tax for 2014 to 15, and it gives the following details. Property valuation band A, amount of council tax per year, £932.89. Valuation band B, £1,088.38. Valuation band C, £1,243.86. Band D, £1,399.34. Band E, £1,710.30. Band F, £2,021.27. Band G, £2,332.23. Band H, £2,798.68. The council tax is payable in the year beginning the 1st of April 2014 in accordance with the law. Details of this will be shown on your council tax bill.
A woman was lucky to escape with her life when her car careered off the North Circular Road and through a brick wall. Debris was showered across the pavement when the dark grey Toyota Corolla collided with the wall at the Palmer's Green service station off the A407. The driver was left badly shaken by the crash, but walked away from the wreckage. Stunned motorists filling up their cars at the garage described hearing a loud bang before several of them went to the aid of the woman. She was treated by paramedics for minor injuries. One witness told the Independent she was quite shaken, but I think she's okay. The airbag went off, so it looked like that might have saved her. A member of the staff at the garage described hearing the impact and seeing a large cloud of dust thrown up in the aftermath of the collision.
The decision on whether to let Tottenham Hotspur add a 500-seater stand to their training centre in Enfield's protected green belt will not be made until next month. A meeting of Enfield Council's planning committee voted to postpone a verdict on permitting the Premier League club to build the stand on the training ground in Hotspur Way off Whitewedge Lane. After deputations from residents and Green campaigners, councillors said that they could not make a decision until they had visited the site to assess how much of an impact the 90-metre-long stand would have on the environment. Planning officers recommended that council chiefs should give the go-ahead to the club's proposal, even though their report contained details of 2 objection letters from residents. The letters included complaints that employees of this company roar around the site in machinery while other employees kick balls around to the accompaniment of general bawling and shouting. And one complainant also wrote, "Balls are kicked with force against metal poles and the noise causes untold misery to local residents." Meanwhile, the England football team used Spurs facilities to prepare for their friendly match against Denmark. Roy Hodgson's squad trained at the ground recently.
A homeless man who beat a fellow vagrant to death in a savage attack has been found guilty of murder. Damien Walczak, 30, of no fixed abode, was found guilty at the Old Bailey of murdering 55-year-old Alfred Stemperowski by battering him to death on May the 29th last year in a bin shed in Keats Close, Ponders End, which the pair shared with 2 other homeless people. In the course of the trial, the jury heard that the victim had been sleeping on a mattress when, without warning, Walczak, who had been drinking, grabbed him, lifting him off the floor before pummeling him with a flurry of blows to the ribs and face. When the 2 other Polish vagrants, a man and a woman, who were present at the scene, begged him to stop, Walczak intimidated them, forcing them to stay in the bin shed. They asked him why he was doing it, and he replied, "For the love of my country," a colloquial Polish saying that means doing something for no reason at all. A post-mortem revealed that Mr. Stemperowski had died after suffering serious chest injuries and fractures to his ribcage. Although the witnesses escaped from the bin shed, when they tried to tell passing members of the public what had happened, the language barrier meant that they were unable to make themselves understood. The police were not called until the next day after the couple had returned to the bin shed and were unable to rouse Mr. Stemperowski from his mattress. Speaking after the jury delivered its verdict, Detective Chief Inspector Sheila Stewart from the murder squad said, "Damien Walczak launched a totally unprovoked attack on Alfred Stemperowski. The level of violence he used was terrifying, and he used this to intimidate the witnesses present. He used his muscular build and propensity for violence to assault and intimidate the persons he lived with, and ultimately murder an innocent man. Walczak will be sentenced at the Old Bailey on March the 31st.
We've got a lovely picture here of a little girl presenting a bunch of flowers to Princess Anne. A hospital welcomed a member of the royal family for a whistle-stop tour of its new maternity unit. Princess Anne visited North Middlesex University Hospital's new maternity unit. Staff at the unit were awarded the Maternity Team of the Year for 2013 by the Royal College of Midwives, of which Princess Anne is a patron. And midwives and other staff at the hospital in Stirling Way, Edmonton, looked on as the Princess Royal was shown around the unit. After the tour, the Princess spoke to some of the members of staff about their roles and their training. She told staff it's a great achievement to open a new maternity unit, but to open a really good one takes something special. The reason this unit has won awards is because of its staff and the personal skills that they have with mothers. That is the key. The hospital has taken on more patients since the closure of the maternity unit at Chase Farm in Enfield. As a result, 50% more babies are being born at the hospital. Princess Anne was also presented with a mascot. The 4-year-old Ceres Rose McCowan was delighted to have met Princess Anne and bowed to her once she had received the gift. Jean Warren, 82, was born at the hospital and worked as a care support worker for 37 years. She said to be able to tell my story to her was just an honour, and it was fantastic. It's different to how it used to be at the hospital, but it's something I've been part of for many, many years. Midwives Sonia Clark, Veronica Wells and Rosemary Hearn have all worked at the hospital through its transition. Sonia Clark said, "It's the icing on the cake to have been through the transition. It's wonderful new space. And now to have Princess Anne come down, it's been marvellous." She added, "There's been a massive increase since the closure of Chase Farm, but we don't mind that. I think the figure is about 6,000 a year, but we are happy people are coming to our unit because it is state-of-the-art."
Plans to install a footbridge or warning light system at a level crossing have been welcomed by people living nearby. The Lincoln Road level crossing was closed to vehicles more than a year ago for health and safety reasons, but Network Rail are now planning to make improvements for pedestrians at the site. A footbridge has been suggested as a possible solution, but that may not be possible due to the built-up nature of the area. The company, which is responsible for lines and signalling, may now consider red and green warning lights. Derek Lonsdale of Burley Road, which is adjacent to the crossing, believes something must be done. He said, "Something should be done to help the safety of pedestrians. Vehicles can no longer go down there, and that is also an issue. It can cut off trade on both sides, but due to the amount of houses built so close to the crossing, it will be tough for Network Rail to do anything." A Network Rail spokeswoman said, "Network Rail confirms that we continue to investigate the feasibility of installing a bridge at Lincoln Road level crossing near Enfield Town Station, for which we would have to provide steps-free access. This site has been identified as one of the level crossings for which funding may be allocated as part of the industry's next funding period, starting in April 2014. However, due to the built-up nature of the area, the feasibility of such a solution is questionable, and so we're also investigating the possibility of upgrading the crossing to improve its safety, most likely by installing red and green warning lights. A decision will be made over the coming months."
The Metropolitan Police will not be buying second-hand water cannon to deploy on the streets of London. The Met's bid to buy 3 23-year-old water cannon from Germany was rejected by the London Assembly's Police and Crime Committee, led by Enfield and Haringey member Joanne McCartney. The committee investigated the police's proposal to buy the water cannon as an interim solution before the Home Office made any decision on whether the crowd control weapons should be deployed in mainland Britain. Its report dismissed the Met's argument that water cannon would have helped control the riots and looting that swept through London, including Enfield, in the summer of 2011. The report says, analysis has shown that water cannon would have been of very limited, if any, use in preventing or tackling those events. The trucks, which shoot jets of water at massed and violent groups of people, are typically used in situations where large hordes of violent rioters, protesters or demonstrators are ranged against a particular target. The only part of the United Kingdom where they are used is in Northern Ireland. The Police Service of Northern Ireland currently has a fleet of 6 vehicles. They are heavy armoured vehicles, and so, the Assembly argued, would have been impractical for the small pitched battles and fast-paced looting that characterised the London riots in August 2011. Delivering the report, Ms McCartney warned that the Met's determination to bring in the weapons demonstrated a creeping infringement of our rights, and that it was the responsibility of politicians to determine whether beefed-up crowd control measures were in the best interests of public protection. There is no convincing argument for the Mayor's decision to fund water cannon for the Met for deployment by this summer, she said. The Met is pressing for what it calls an interim solution without clear justification for its urgency. In doing so, it is preventing a full and proper national public debate about water cannon.
Derelict flats in the north of the borough are set to become townhouses. The flats, in 40 Hill, Enfield, have been empty for more than 3 years. But Enfield Borough Council has decided that they will be turned into 1 to 4 bedroom townhouses. Despite housing being in such high demand, Edward Bridge, 61, who lives in St George's Road next to the flats, does not believe that they will be in keeping with the surrounding area. He said, "From the plans we saw, I was not convinced by the layout and structure of the buildings. I understand very well that these are derelict flats and must be developed, but I don't think townhouses are the way to go." A woman living nearby, who did not wish to be named, had a contrasting view to her neighbour. She said, "These flats are a stain on the image of Enfield, and the sooner they are dismantled, the better. They only attract trouble, and the townhouses will hopefully change all that." The flats are set to be demolished this spring, with building commencing later this summer.
People with learning and physical disabilities tried out 2- and 3-wheeled bikes as part of a new cycling scheme. Modified cycles and tricycles were all the rage as 10 different disability groups gathered at Lee Valley Athletics Centre in Meridian Way, Edmonton, to test out the new bikes. Organiser Rose Claydon was thrilled with how the day went and is now confident of providing a regular bike service at an Enfield park. She said, "The atmosphere for the whole day was very bubbly and everyone enjoyed the variety of bikes on offer. As a result of the positive feedback, we will be setting up a bike hire shop at Bush Hill Park. This will cater for everyone's needs, whether you have a disability or not, and we hope to open 5 days a week eventually." Enfield Borough Council hopes to launch the initiative in July for 3 days a week. Prices for cycle hire have yet to be decided. Councillor Don McGowan, Enfield Council's Cabinet Member for Adult Services, Care and Health, said, "We want to give those who may have a physical disability or mobility problem a chance to try out the different models."
Help is at hand with launching your own business after a new scheme was launched at Edmonton Green Library. Enfield Borough Council and Enterprise Enfield's New Biz initiative, that's biz spelt B-I-Z, will give free help and support to those launching their own business. To be eligible for the scheme, residents must attend a Barclays Getting Ready for Business seminar in Enfield Town Library. We have now reached the end of side 1 of this tape. Please stop your machine now, take out the cassette, turn it over and start side 2.